You're listening to the Get Out and Drive podcast, fueled by AMD, with your hosts, John, Custom Car Nerd Meyer, and Jason, Old Car Guy Carr. We'll be bringing you gearheads everything you never wanted to know about cars and why they should be on the road and not in your garage. Are you ready to get out and drive?
Oh, hey guys, this is Jason here with AMD, and you're watching the Get Out and Drive podcast. Check this out.
Here's your reminder to support the companies that support your right to get out and drive.
Auto Metal Direct is a premier manufacturer of high-quality restoration parts for classic American cars and trucks. AMD offers a wide range of components including body panels, trim, glass, weather stripping, and much more, crafted to meet or exceed original equipment specifications. Be sure to visit autometaldirect.com as you get your ride ready to get out and drive.
John, welcome back to another great episode of Get Out and Drive, fueled by AMD. You know who I am. You know who this is.
I remember who I am.
It's a battle every day.
You know, instead of just kind of jumping in, somebody should just wave the green flag, anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to know when to boogity, boogity, boogity.
If you guys are lucky enough to have witnessed the Daytona 500 this year, 2026, there's some controversy. And there was some, in my opinion, there was some great racing. But we're going to talk a little bit about NASCAR in this episode, John, and we're going to kind of go back to what it is today that people have been complaining about for the last 15 years or so. We're going to go back to like Dale Earnhardt times and kind of work our way through what NASCAR is today and where some of those changes have gone, and you know, where do we see NASCAR going in the future? But
Electric.
John, I know that you were a NASCAR fan back in the 90s.
Very much so. I was always watching from the 90s to, I think, Dale's death. So I don't know why, but I think all the air kind of went out of my sails after that.
Well, and I think that a lot of people feel the same way. Like when I first started watching, coincidentally was right around the time that Richard Petty had stopped racing, and about the time that, you know, Jeff Gordon kind of came on the scene, that nobody really knew who this kid was. I became a Jeff Gordon fan, and yeah, I'm going to get heckled for that because we all know he was a little bit of a crybaby.
Probably by me.
Maybe so. But when NASCAR was actually running what we would call stock cars, you know, back in the 80s, you had your Pontiac Grand Prix and your Buick Regals and your Chevy Monte Carlos. Ford had their, what were they racing back then? Thunderbirds and Mercury Coopers and all.
Now you have to figure out, are you talking chrome bumper cars?
Yeah, like that's
because if my opinion, chrome bumper cars, Chevrolet stopped in, GM stopped. All the GM stuff stopped. Let me see, chrome bumper cars would have been 82.
Yeah. Because
after that they got rubber bumper covers, you know, and the Grand National stuff and aero cars, and I think between 84 and the epitome, my opinion, the epitome of G-body NASCAR, 1987. Aero Grand Prix,
aero.
Oh man. So I mean, that's my pinnacle of it. There's a lot of 60s and 70s cars that I like, a lot of Jimmy Johnson cars, stuff like that. Cale Yarborough.
Yep.
But chrome bumpered NASCAR is like the epitome of my opinion NASCAR.
Raw NASCAR is how I would look.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
yeah, pull up with an open trailer and run what you brung.
Yep. Jump in and join the Get Out and Drive podcast, What Drives Youth Initiative, by supporting these organizations that support the next generation in the automotive industry.
Operative Talent is committed to inspiring and empowering the next generation of automotive professionals. Learn more at operativetalent.com. RPM.com.
The RPM Foundation safeguards the critical skills necessary to restore and preserve collector vehicles by supporting hands-on training and engaging the next generation of craftsmen and women. Learn more at rpm.foundation. Yeah,
Right.
and your pit crew consisted of how many people you could fit in the car hauler that you were hauling your race car with.
Yeah.
Right. You showed up, you had four tires on the car.
Right.
You had 4 spare tires on your trailer.
Yeah.
Like, we're going back to what movie was that? Six Pack. Kenny
Well,
Rogers.
six pack and Kenny Rogers is fantastic because it's just nothing but bad news bears.
Yep.
NASCAR.
Right. And
and that's the epitome is that. And fastest chicken in the South, the Chicken's Pit Special. That's 1984.
Yep. And like, NASCAR has evolved so much from that. And I guess where I was going with that was talking about the chrome bumper NASCARs and stock.
Mm-hmm.
I use stock loosely because they were still stock-ish cars.
Yeah.
And when they moved away from that generation of car, they moved into all basically tin panels, man-made panels, where you had a fiberglass nose of the car you were driving and maybe a fiberglass tail-ish, right?
Yeah.
And back when they transitioned from the chrome bumper up to the next generation of car into the 90s, the only prerequisite for a stock car, air quotes, was that the floor pan had to be made basically out of a stamped sheet from the manufacturer.
Okay.
So if you were running a G-body, a Monte Carlo, Regal, or Grand Prix, then you had that was your base, that was your floor.
Right.
And then they built around that.
And you built around it. And that's the end. That to me, it's not hard line in the sand, but that's the beginning of the end of NASCAR for me. When you went to front wheel drive base cars in 1988, I saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah, because you're stepping away from the grassroots of NASCAR, which was literally stock cars that were modified to go fast. Safety became a thing. So, roll cages and, impact bumpers in behind all that thin sheet metal and, safety harnesses and belts and all this stuff. And like we look today, I mean, I'm going to jump ahead to modern times very, very quickly. The safety that's in these cars today is bar none. Like there's you can take an impact head on into a wall and the guy's dropping his window net and climbing himself out of the car long before the AMR safety crew even gets there.
Right.
Now rewind to the Daytona 500 25 years ago when Dale Sr. passed away. He took a right hook, incidentally, by Kenny Schrader, hit the turn 4 wall. At the time, for a split second or two, nobody thought anything of it.
They expected him to climb out.
Yep.
I mean, he went down the backstretch, upside down, backwards, sideways at Talladega.
Yep.
And he goes, straightened his jacket out.
Yep.
And got out.
Yeah. Yeah, and remember the time Michael Waltrip hit the barrier at, I forget what track it was, Bristol, I think. The gate was open. He hit it during qualifying, ripped his car literally in half. And he basically...
Bristol or Darlington, I can't remember. But
I think it was Darlington. But anyways, he literally undid his straps and sat up out of the seat, and he was out of the car.
Yeah, you could see him.
Yeah. Safety certainly has come a long way. But back then, like I said, you had grassroots racers. You had guys that not necessarily were coming out of go-karts and Legends cars and Bandoleros. They didn't have that stuff back then. And most of them were in their early to mid-20s before they even had a break. That's why you saw the Bobby Allisons racing well into their 50s. Richard Petty racing for as long as he did. Dale Earnhardt was 51, I believe, when he died. Yes. I'm 50 now. Right. And when I go back, I look at that, I see Dale Earnhardt as a much older person than I am. Obviously, time passes, but he was he was nearing the end of his career statistically, but he was still there. He was still contending for wins.
I mean, Cale Yarborough, he looked like he was a freaking old timer.
Yeah, and there's so many names that we can go back and look at from all the years past of people who raced well into their 50s. And now it seems like if you're getting close to 50, you're an old timer, right?
Yes.
Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick just retired there a few years back, and were in their 40s. Why? Because they started racing in the series at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Harvick taking over from Dale Earnhardt when Dale died, literally that very next weekend.
Yes.
So when we think back to NASCAR, John, what comes to mind? Like, what, for someone who was watching it up until that point, I've been watching it kind of at that point, and still, like, what comes to mind when you hear the term NASCAR? What's the first thing that you think of?
I don't know how to answer that question, because are you talking NASCAR in general as a commercialized sport?
Yep.
Or are you talking about evolution of NASCAR? Or, I mean, there's a broad spectrum of stuff.
I just want to see where your mind goes. When I say NASCAR, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Advertising.
Right.
Period.
It's a rolling billboard.
Because, correct. Because I'm sure somebody out there is going to correct me, but April or June of 1977 was the first time it was on Wide World of Sports, national television, prime time.
Yep.
And that brought hillbillies pulling up, making a left into America's living room. And along with that came advertising for everything. Because prior to that, people are like, well, what's NASCAR? And only the diehard Southern, and I'm going to keep saying hillbillies because that's where they came from.
Yep, moonshine.
The diehard Southern states, Southern U.S. states, old-timer hillbilly stuff. Before that, the world did not have NASCAR in their living room.
No.
That's my opinion. Evolution of NASCAR came from that point in time, and it had, in my opinion, had a heyday for 10 years, because from 77 to 87 was the pinnacle, because it became a promotional powerhouse.
I'm on board with what you're saying, but I will disagree with pinnacle, because I believe that once NASCAR got in front, it wasn't until NASCAR got in front of everybody who wanted to watch it on TV every Sunday, because back then it was all over the place.
Oh, very much.
Whether it was
in its infancy of advertising, but
it was on ESPN, it was on TNN, it was on a few CBS races were done, so you couldn't catch every race. And it wasn't until it became mainstream on things like TNN or Fox, CBS, whatever they were doing, and they were getting you were getting every weekend, every race.
But what you're saying is post 1984. Is 1984 and afterwards, because cable and CNN and all that stuff, they didn't pick up that immediately. They waited in the background to see what was going to happen promotional money-wise.
Yeah, because they weren't.
And they were not making money until they finally decided it's absolutely incredible. And it's stupid, but I think Stroker Ace movie really, really, really helped NASCAR in 84.
Yeah, and then later on in 87 or 9, I can't remember, Days of Thunder.
That would have been longer than that. I thought it was 90, 91. But anyway, go ahead.
Still, you start showing, we talked about it earlier, Kenny Rogers, six-pack, and Stroker Ace, and then Days of Thunder, and all these movies started coming out. Some of them were actual, I don't want to say mockeries, but more of
Sure.
a mockumentary story
Right.
of what
Right.
they were doing. So it was meant to be funny. It was meant to be whatever. When Days of Thunder came along, it was
Right.
almost the seriousness of what racing was with some humor mixed in.
Oh, it did. It did. I mean, they took the evolution and the seriousness of Top Gun, and it was Top Gun on wheels.
Yeah.
Same show, same people, same everything, and it was just brought to the theaters, and it was that grandiose. It put you in the driver's seat, and you could see all that, and it was amazing
And if you guys
for the time.
And if you guys follow us on Instagram, you'll know that on the weekend we posted about the death of Robert Duvall, who played the character Harry Hyde in
Yes.
Days of Thunder. 95 years old, great actor.
Yes.
Plenty of credits to his name, in my opinion. Of course, I'm a
Oh yeah, from The Godfather.
Days of Thunder was one of his best, just because I'm a NASCAR guy. But yeah, huge credits. And that movie, again, helped put NASCAR on the map for people who either may have been on the fence or maybe they were just Tom Cruise fans wanting to see the latest movie.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden they liked the movie. I want to see more of that.
Right.
Becomes a fan.
Well, sure.
So
everybody was NASCAR fans, and they became even more with the Jeff Gordon documentary, which is called The Legend of Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights.
That wasn't Jeff Gordon.
Oh, it wasn't?
No. He was in the movie. He was in the movie.
I thought the whole thing was a mockumentary about Jeff Gordon.
I think it was a mockumentary about everything NASCAR.
Oh, see, I missed that part.
Yeah, no, Jeff Gordon, I think Dale Jr., those guys were all, because they had small little bit parts in that movie.
I thought that's who he was trying to play. Me. I thought he was playing Jeff Gordon.
You're just saying that because I'm a Jeff Gordon fan.
Maybe.
You're hurting my feelings. My one feeling, Johnny, you heard it.
Dilly gaff.
Oh, hey kids, this is Jason with AMD. You're watching the Get Out and Drive podcast. Check this out.
That's where Hollywood played their part in NASCAR, was helping bring that around. The heyday of NASCAR was late 90s into the 2000s, probably 2005 to 10 maybe was kind of that pinnacle, because it was so accessible.
Yeah.
The tracks were packed every race.
Right.
Sponsorships were plastered everywhere. You recognized a racer on the track by the color of their car, by the decals, not so much always the number. You knew what the number was.
Sure.
When you saw that orange car go by, you knew that was a Home Depot Tony Stewart car.
He sold the windshield.
Right? But that's what it was. It was all about advertising.
Right.
And that brings us to the next point of sponsorship.
So you're going right up to interest, right up to second gen cars.
Oh, well,
or the evolution. Evolution cars, the next gen cars.
Yeah, and I think that by this time we're probably even into the third gen, if we're talking like into the late 90s and 2000s.
Okay.
But as we look at the whole sponsorship side of things, sponsorships came, and for the most part, they stayed for the whole season. Why? Because it was less expensive to be a part of NASCAR in those days.
Right.
Right? To be a primary sponsor, for DuPont to be plastered on Jeff Gordon's car, Lowe's to be plastered on Jimmy Johnson's car, Bud on Dale Jr., GM Goodwrench, like those guys paid big money to help these guys travel and get to where they needed to go, because their branding was everywhere. And it affected more people back then. There's a reason why people drink Bud beer because their NASCAR driver drank it. There's a reason why I shop at Lowe's versus Home Depot or the other way around. There's a reason why I get my gas at this gas station or buy this oil or buy that product or whatever. Because it was implanted in our brains as the one of the only sports alive everywhere that you saw so much branding.
Right.
You go to the track had a brand name in some cases. Right? You go to a race, the race was named after a brand.
Are we even going to get off on Joe Camel and Winston?
Yep.
I mean,
Political correctness played a part in why.
But that was a big deal in the 90s.
Yep. Political correctness played a part in why Winston is not the Winston Cup anymore.
Right.
Because it promoted tobacco. And although they still play a big part, they said we need to get away from this. That was part, in my opinion, that was part of some of those first stepping stones of the decline.
Do you and I didn't really follow it a ton. Do you think marketing, US government, or NASCAR were the ones that promoted getting rid of Winston?
Yes.
There you go. See, you know my answers.
Right. There was too much pressure.
Right.
From all those parts.
Well, a cartoon trying to sell somebody cigarettes.
Joe Camel.
Right.
Right. And the other problem is they didn't want kids wearing T-shirts.
Yep.
Promoting smoking.
Well, that's why they wouldn't have Hot Wheels that had alcohol on them.
Yep. And here we are today where there's a few energy drinks, beers, soda pop. That's all advertising in NASCAR still. Like, are they going to get to a point where they say, oh, you can't advertise something that's not healthy?
Well, there you go. Where does the bubble wrap stop?
Yeah. We're speaking of evolution in advertising and sponsorship. NASCAR, in my opinion, was forced away from the Winston Cup, the Winston brand of their primary league. The Cup Series was the Winston Cup. They were kind of forced away from that. And, well, how about this, John? When cellular phones were becoming some of the biggest things on the market and everybody was getting cell phones,
yes.
Let's get Nextel on board. Nextel became a sponsor of the Cup Series for a few short years, which then turned into the Sprint Cup.
Right.
Later, the Monster Energy Cup Series, and now they don't even have a named sponsor. It's just the Cup Series.
Right.
So did we get away from that under pressure? Or was it all about the almighty dollar?
It had to have been about the almighty dollar. This is a touchy subject. I mean, we may have to call our buddy AJ Ware.
Yep.
He was promotions director for Petty
GMS
for a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He's got a lot of opinions on the subject.
Yeah, and in hopes that he would be able to speak freely, I wonder if he would be interested in coming back and talking to us now. But as we're talking about the evolution and sponsorships, how NASCAR's they were completely recognizable. Right? Every once in a while, you would have a different sponsor on a big name for one race.
Yeah.
Maybe two. Maybe a third one somewhere along the way. But it was always, you knew that car, you knew who was driving that car. Your whole branding, your whole merchandise sales, everything was around that Budweiser car, number 8, Dale Jr.
And you have to understand that it is curated rivalry
Yep.
like wrestling, because the rainbow car was always racing against the orange car, against the black car, against the red car, and I didn't name a driver.
Yep.
And you know what's
I
what.
knew exactly what you were talking about.
And um, that is created rivalry by promotions. And if you root for Hulk Hogan, you know, you're wearing yellow. You root for this other guy, you know, in wrestling, you're wearing different colors.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for NASCAR. And it's all soap opera, marketing, money driven promotions, rivalry.
And back then, you could ask anybody who was a NASCAR fan,
Mhm.
who drives the number 2 car?
Mhm.
Depending on the era,
Sure, sure.
right? You're going to say Rusty Wallace
Right.
or Kurt Busch, if we're talking about this late 90s, early 2000s.
But I know what sponsor was primarily on that car.
Miller Lite,
Period. Miller Lite, period.
period. Right? And we go and we say, who was the primary sponsor of the number 20 car? We
Jeff,
knew what it was.
shoot, why did I say Jeff? I was looking at you. That's terrible. That's terrible.
That's blasphemy.
Wow.
But we all know it was Tony Stewart.
Yeah, everybody,
Right. We
except
know
for
it
my brain right now.
Yeah, and we knew it was the Home Depot car. But
Correct.
today, those 2 car numbers are still around. You might be able to tell me the sponsor, but can you tell me the driver?
I think one of them is Leah Pruitt's husband.
Well, not now. I get where you're going with that. But my point is that if I ask somebody today in NASCAR who drives the number 2 car,
No one would know.
right? Who drives the 20 car?
Nobody knows that.
And nobody even knows who the sponsor is of the 20. Right? Because it changes every friggin' week.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the number 20 is driven by Christopher Bell, Joe Gibbs Racing.
I don't know who that is.
Same car owner that owned Tony Stewart's car,
Okay.
Home Depot car. But it's a cross between DeWalt, Dollar General, Wrigley's, XI batteries, when all these used to be a specific sponsor on a completely different car at some point or another. But now they're chopping it up, and that number 20 car is sponsored by one of those 4 or 5 that I just labeled. Every race is a different one.
Wow.
But is that marketing genius? Oh, I've got to have Christopher Bell's number 20 Home Depot car, or I've got to have the Interstate Batteries car, or I've got to have the Dollar General car. You're selling 4 or 5 t-shirts versus 1.
And die-cast.
Die-cast, shirts, hats.
Oh my God, hats, everything.
Socks, underwear, you name it. If you're into NASCAR, they will put a logo, a brand, and a number literally on anything.
Yeah, buy your Exide batteries, diapers.
Right?
That's like when in the 90s I used a lot of Jeff Gordon Kleenex tissues. They were branded. Oh.
You're an ass. I'll have you know, we used crying towels.
Oh, okay, I see. Trying to save the planet.
You're trying to save the planet.
Trying to recycle it one rainbow at a time.
Yeah, we just throw them in the wash.
Nice. Good job.
Yeah, so that's the big thing, is that the cars evolved. The racing sponsorship has evolved. What about the drivers? It seems as though drivers do not stay with a team for an extended period of time.
Yeah, long contract.
Yeah, Tony Stewart, long contract with Home Depot before he went out on his own. Jeff Gordon only had one team and one major sponsor for his whole career. Right. Dale Earnhardt drove for Richard Childress.
Yeah.
For the longest time. And I can go through several different names of back then of people who had long-term contracts that from year to year, you weren't sitting there thinking, oh, well, who's going to be driving that car next year? And the names changed. I left NASCAR for about 7 or 8 years. And when I came back, I'm like, who are these people? I don't know these kids.
Right.
And they were literally 18 years old, coming up through the truck series, ARCA. It's now the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, the middle series.
Right.
And they're coming out of nowhere.
Well, sure.
Like they did. Nobody knew who Jeff Gordon was when he first come on the scene.
Well, he was driving a dirt car.
Right. So the names, they're getting switched around. So much so that even sometimes their car numbers are staying with the same team, but their car numbers are changing.
Right.
So again, is that merchandise? I just bought that number 2 car. Now he's driving the number 3. I don't know. Right. Or whatever.
If you're looking for cool garage art, check out the lowbrow artist Richard Keel. His use of classic pinstripe lines mixed with tongue-in-cheek hand-painted images evokes the nostalgia of the 50s and 60s hot rod culture. Cruise over to stlpinstripes.com and get your one-of-a-kind artwork, stickers, and t-shirts today.
So many things have changed compared to what they were 25, let's say 15 to 25 years ago, compared to what it is today. Today, they're all racing the same car. Yeah.
Well, they have no ability to be creative or race the rule book.
Nope.
Because I know they had templates. That's super cool. But everybody has the same car. This is IROC all over again.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it might have Chevrolet or Ford or Toyota.
But it's the same bar of soap.
As a NASCAR fan, I get where they were going with that. I like the aspect of the car is so much more safe.
Right.
I like the fact that the car is bigger than they used to be. I like the fact that even from last year to this year with this new Gen 7 car, is the car has more flaps on it than ever before.
To slow it down when it's not going forward.
Well, exactly, because what was happening is now the complete underbelly of these cars is got panels on them. They're flat. Even the exhaust is covered.
Right, everything.
So if air gets underneath that car, what happens?
Up in the air.
It becomes a
up
sail.
And over. Right.
So this year they implemented a couple of new flaps on the A-pillars.
Okay.
So that if you get caught in the wind going backwards, the A-pillars pop out like this. Like the gills on one of those lizards, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And the same thing in the back, underneath what would be the center of your diffuser,
right,
has a little trap door. If the top flaps on the roof come up, they're pulling a cable, which releases a flap like this.
Makes everything open.
Well, so that it catches air.
Yeah.
On the ground instead of being.
Keeps it on the track.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen several pictures. Video, I can't remember what it was last year or whatever. There was a Camaro on the backstretch and it was standing up on the back wheels, 180 miles an hour, halfway down the backstretch.
Yep.
That's an amazing video.
That was the number 60 car, I believe, Ryan Preece last year.
Yes.
Yep. And he was like, he was off the ground.
Oh, he was flying.
And that wasn't
with a tiny little touch.
Yep. And he survived it.
Yeah.
So the cars of today are safe. I do like that aspect. I like that we're not losing drivers to racing accidents anymore.
And they're modular.
Yeah. So
I do like that.
But, and again, I'm not even sad that they're all the same car, because then it puts the ability in the driver's hands.
Okay.
If you're driving the same car that I'm driving, there shouldn't be any advantage.
Except for the driver.
Now it comes down to skill. How do you handle yourself in traffic? How do you handle your shifting, your braking points?
Well, they already did that They already did that long ago with IROC.
Sure.
Everybody got the same car.
Yep. But here we are.
I don't know. I have to ask because I didn't really watch the whole race. I watched the 2 or 3 laps that matter this past Sunday. And
That's what all the controversy was anyway.
Right, 1 lap you have to lead 1 lap. But do you think, and I know it's controversy, do you think they got everybody together and said, "Mat this bitch and make people watch"? Because it's, and I'm being a jackass, I'm sorry, it's too safe. You pull up and turn left, everybody's got the same tires, everybody's got the same everything. There's no variables. And
So-
how sleepy is it that you pull up and turn left 500 times, you know? And how do you keep everybody involved? But this Sunday, oh my God, they wrecked the whole field.
Well, we talk about the cars being the same. So everybody is basically given the same car.
Sure.
So you can still set them up differently as far as how the suspension responds. You can still set up your brake biases. You can still set up your air pressures, stuff like that. But yes, for the most part, they are all the same. One thing that was a little bit of a controversy was the fact that I think the math on that is 160 laps.
Yeah.
2.5 miles, 165 miles.
Right.
So basically for 150 laps, they were just running around and they were being cautious and not much was happening.
Sure.
Every once in a while, somebody would get a little bit loose and
Don't wreck the car.
yeah, exactly. It's a multi-million-dollar sport for everybody involved. The drivers are getting paid big bucks. The sponsors are paying big bucks. These teams have huge overheads with staffing and equipment and haulers and everything.
Right.
For them to go and play bumper cars at 195 miles an hour in a car that probably costs $1 million or more, to me, that's a little bit ridiculous. They've given them the ability to bump draft hard. I'm not against bump drafting, but what I'm against is you see them coming up and it's a smash and the car just slingshots ahead of you.
Right.
And although the cars are safe, there is a fine line there to it's so safe. I can now use that chrome horn aggressively to bump draft and push that guy in front of me, because if I push him, he's going to be dragging me behind him. And the bump drafting was probably some of the most aggressive yesterday in that race that I have ever seen.
I saw a lot of shake and bake.
Yep, exactly.
I did. I saw it. I saw so much of it.
Yep. And there was so much of that going on that a slight miscalculation was catastrophe.
Well, sure. You run into the car in front of you, you hang high, get out in the wind, and the rest of the pack is crashed.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the last lap and a half.
And Tyler Reddick, the winner of the Daytona 500 2026,
who was like 4th or 8th to begin.
Oh, he was back there even further.
It was way back there. I didn't even count. But yeah.
You guys all know how this race ended. If you listen to us, you've watched the race.
Right.
But a lap and a half coming out of turn 4, there's a little mishap. And a bunch of cars scramble, get crashed, and they're self-cleaning down to the bottom of the track, and they take the white flag. Those of you who know, once the white flag is out, the next flag, whether it's a caution or the checker flag, ends the race. So for starters, I'm giving kudos to NASCAR for allowing everybody to continue to race back to the checker.
I thought they were going to go to yellow.
I thought they were too. But that whole mess was self-cleaning it.
I understand.
Off the backstretch or off of the turn 4.
and they weren't going to come through it again.
Right. So NASCAR is looking at that, and they're also looking up here, and they're saying, okay, well, they've got a whole lap. They got 2.5 miles. If they're coming up on some wreckage, we'll throw the flag.
Yeah.
That's where the controversy begins.
Sure.
I give them kudos for holding out and not giving a caution.
Yeah.
And as a Jeff Gordon fan, I transitioned into a Chase Elliott fan who took over for Jeff Gordon.
Sure.
And once that wreck was wrecking back there, guess who was out front? Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott.
And
I mean, man, it would have been different if they would have gone to yellow, and then they would have had a scramble start.
Well, if they'd have gone to yellow, they had already taken. No, they didn't at that point. If they'd have gone, if they just flagged the yellow, it would have been a green, white checker. 2 more laps.
Green, white checker. Yeah.
Yep. Anybody's game.
Yeah. Everybody starts even, and in my eyes, it'd been like a scramble start. You get what you get.
Yeah.
Mat it and go.
And then NASCAR didn't wave the flag for that first wreck. They're coming into the tri-oval to catch that white flag.
Right.
And cars are wrecking, or sorry, to catch the checkered flag, cars are waving again.
Well,
they're just going everywhere.
And from what I saw, and maybe my numbers are wrong, I think position 4 or 5 got together, and that took out the middle.
And then
it was ridiculous.
And then Ruddock just kind of boops down, avoids the wreck.
Yeah, he stayed on the apron.
Yep.
He stayed at the bottom, and he just stayed in it. He could see the line.
So there's a lot of controversy over those last couple of laps, but to some degree, that's what makes NASCAR is the unknown, is not knowing that the one guy who led every lap from the green flag to the checker wins the race. Those are boring races, I will admit.
Right. And that was my biggest question to you was, do you think backstage everybody said, let's make this one fun?
See, I think NASCAR does a little bit of, make it entertaining, bring people back.
Yeah.
I forget what year it is, but we're going probably back into the 2000s. The term "boys have at it" came about.
Oh yeah.
Which meant if you got to get up there and rub a little bit to get by, do it, because it creates controversy, creates villains.
Yes.
It creates animosity between fans.
Well, sure.
And we want to see, that's what creates fans, is the controversy. So
I certainly race, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, do I think that yesterday's race created some new fans? Well, I think if you were on the fence about Tyler Reddick, you're probably a pretty hot to trot now, knowing that he's just won that. Right. If you're a Denny Hamlin fan who got caught up in that wreck, who was on his way leading, like, we're talking about a guy here who missed out on a championship last year, lost his father a few months ago. There's a hard luck story there with Denny Hamlin. Bubba Wallace. Right? Bubba Wallace led something like 40 laps.
Right.
He was a favorite to win that race.
But there's the I'll get them next time attitude, and then butts in the seats to see if it happens.
That's right. So do I think NASCAR has weight on a race outcome? Again, a lot of people will argue that they do, but you can't control what happens on the track.
No, but yesterday was the most exciting race that I've seen in, I don't know, 5 years or more.
I think if we go back to the lawsuit that NASCAR went through, the antitrust lawsuit from last year, Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin's team, 2311, and Front Row Motorsports were suing NASCAR because of they didn't think that the funds, the purses, were being distributed properly, the TV ratings and the way that those were distributed, the ratings, the TV money coming in.
Sure.
And so they wouldn't sign the charter. They felt like they were pressured to sign the charter, as did a lot of NASCAR teams, but they just signed anyways. They fought it. Some will say that they won. There was no winning and losing because it was settled before the judge made a call. But I believe that the teams won by being able to get more money out of NASCAR to help keep things going. I believe the fans won because now you've got more opportunity for the teams to do better. And the networks is the only place that I've got a bone of contention with, is because if you don't have a package that gives you every NASCAR race on one channel like we do here in Canada,
Right.
you've got to chase your channels from Fox to NBC to the CW to Prime, all over the place, costing the fans more money to go find their NASCAR.
Right. Wow.
But I think it's a step in the right direction. I think this year will tell a lot. They changed the playoff format. They no longer call it the playoffs. They're back to a 10-race chase where it's all points based, just like it was for the Winston Cup. But they've changed a few things there, meaning if you get into the chase, then your points kind of do reset.
Right.
But I think this year, 2026, will be the year to be said of what is NASCAR doing to help make things better. We talked about it before we went live. Cletus McFarland. Most people don't know who he is, but if you do, he's a big YouTuber.
Right.
That does a lot of stupid shit on YouTube. But he's got like a 4 million people following him.
Right.
He's huge in drag racing. And with some help from folks like Greg Biffle, God rest his soul, who helped Cletus get into NASCAR. Cletus raced in the ARCA series. He's this year in the truck series. Granted, he only raced like 4, 5, 6 laps in the trucks before he wrecked himself.
Yeah, he was cutting the lawn there for a little bit.
But people like Cletus, I think, are what's going to bring a lot of these younger fans back into the sport.
Right.
And NASCAR recognizes that to say, we're going to get Cletus into NASCAR. We're going to give him all the in-car cameras that we can,
right,
so that his fans can see him. And if his fans weren't NASCAR fans before,
right,
maybe they will be now because he's racing in NASCAR. And Cletus's ultimate goal is to race in the Daytona 500 one day. Granted, you just can't do that.
Well, you see all the stuff that Cletus does, you know, owning Freedom Factory and driving in NASCAR Super Truck and Truck Series and all that stuff. Imagine being wealthy and choosing to play golf.
Yep.
And not do what he's doing.
Yeah.
People got to be busted up here.
Well, he's certainly doing something right.
That's awesome.
His channel has a huge following. He's bringing that following to NASCAR for those who aren't already NASCAR fans. That is good for the sport of NASCAR.
Yeah.
So kudos not just to Cletus and his fan base, but to NASCAR. If you guys don't follow Cletus, what rock are you living under? Go back and watch some of his racing. He does a lot of big Crown Vic stuff. John, you and I caught a Crown Vic race in Indy there last year.
Yeah, we did. And it was awesome.
It was excellent. Tony Stewart raced in that race. Mm-hmm. And who'd have thought a bunch of slowpoke Crown Vics racing around IRP would be fun? It was hilarious. It was a blast.
Who'd have thought in the middle of summer,
yep,
at a tiny little racetrack, Indianapolis Raceway Park,
yep,
that secretly Tony Stewart would be out there in a busted ass police car driving in circles.
Yeah.
If you told me that was happening, I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah. So I think there was an episode that Cletus put out where they took 4 Crown Vics to Daytona and raced them on the track and hinted around at doing a special event of Crown Vics on the Daytona International Speedway.
Wow.
And having a Cletus event there. That would be big for NASCAR.
I've got a name for a race if they do it in Indy. It's the Crown Vic Yard.
Yeah, instead of the Brickyard.
Yes. Make sure Get Out and Drive gets the money from Cletus when we talk to him.
Yeah.
that I named Crown Vic Yard
Yeah,
at,
the
at
Crown
Indy.
Vic 400.
Yes. I'll email him when I get off of here.
I think, John, I think we were all over the place with this episode, but the long and short of it is that I believe that NASCAR had its heyday.
Mhm.
I believe that they took a dip. Things went way by the wayside for a long time. COVID certainly didn't help when fans couldn't physically go to the races.
Right.
But now that we're outside of that, we're inside of a new chase playoff style format. We've got these, in my opinion, we got these great new cars, these safe cars,
Mhm.
and a shitload of talent.
Oh
behind
yeah,
the
I think
wheel.
we're on the uptick, man.
I believe so. So if you guys aren't NASCAR fans and you're tuning into us to listen to what we have to say, give it a chance. Check it out. Some really good upcoming races are happening. Road courses. For those of you who think just turning left is stupid, well, they've got a bunch of road courses. And to celebrate the U.S.'s 250th birthday this year, they're going to be racing at Naval Base Coronado San Diego?
I think it's San Diego.
Yep. And so they'll be doing a road course race on the naval base. How freaking cool is that?
That's
and if
awesome.
I know this, I think all 3 series are going to be racing there.
Wow.
So big to do, big celebration for USA 250 or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
But NASCAR, I do believe, is taking a step in the right direction finally. As a lifelong NASCAR fan, I can't wait to see what 2026 has to offer. Any final thoughts that we may or may not have covered?
I think I'm good. I'm definitely one who has fallen off of NASCAR fan popularity. I may tune in a little bit.
Well, and I think that's what NASCAR is hoping for, is that our generation, the Gen X and whatever generation it was after us, I forget what they're called, but Gen Y, maybe they'll start getting back into it again and seeing what NASCAR has to offer. They play their cards right. They could be big again. They could be, the biggest motorsport out there. I had fun talking about it, John. I know there's a lot of information in there that we handed out. There's going to be people in the comments of this video or wherever they can get a hold of us talking. Right. We're going to do I'll do a few promo bumps too on Instagram and Facebook so that you guys can get in those comments and tell us what you think of the 500 this year and what you think of NASCAR, the direction that it's going, where it came from. And if you have any future ideas for episodes of the Get Out and Drive podcast, go to our website. It's on the screen, getoutanddrive.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom to the listener hotline. And look, just tell us what you feel. And we'll see what we can do to make an episode out of that. Also, don't forget National Get Out and Drive Day is happening on October 4th, 2026, first Sunday in October. Make sure you head over to the website and register. We want to get these stickers out early so that we're not fumbling at the very end like we ran out last year. Hopefully we can make it happen, make it bigger with the help of AMD, who jumped on board again for sponsorship for the episode or for the podcast this year. Yep. And they'll be helping us out with everything that they do over there.
I can't wait, man.
Looking forward to it. Do it for Dale.
Do it for Dale.
Be like Biff and do it for Dale, I guess is how we'll end that. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next episode. The Get Out and Drive podcast is always looking to support the next generation in the auto industry and hobby through our What Drives Youth initiative.
Our friends at AMD know that younger enthusiasts are out there building vintage cars and trucks while incorporating modern comforts. AMD Restoration Parts maintain that classic look needed for resto-mod builds.
If you are a younger enthusiast working on a build using AMD parts, we want to hear from you. If chosen, you and your build will be featured in an upcoming What Drives Youth segment on the Get Out and Drive podcast. Visit getoutanddrive.com to let us know about your build or tag us in your build posts on social media. Visit autometaldirect.com and use the code GOND for a 10% discount exclusively for our listeners for a limited time. AMD, built for enthusiasts by enthusiasts.
Cruise on over to our website, getoutanddrive.com, for all the info you never wanted to know about our podcast. Hit us up on our listener hotline, be the first to know what's happening, get industry news, and grab your Get Out and Drive merch. Connect with us on social media. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Follow us on X at Get Out and Drive Pod.
What drives you?